Hi, everyone. It's Whitney Wiley, and thank you for joining me here on Habit Talks. And today I have with me Lynda Sunshine West. How are you, Sunshine?
Oh, I'm doing great, as always.
It is so nice to see you and to have an opportunity to talk with you a little bit about you. So, the last time I had you on Habit Talks, we had a little faux pas and we were supposed to have a conversation about you and your contribution and co authorship of the book. One Habit for Women Action Takers. And we ended up with a number of your contributors, which was really exciting. But you and I didn't have a chance to get to know each other a little bit. And so, actually, since then, we have gotten a chance to know each other, and
Mhm.
we'll talk about that and the reason for that a little bit later. But for right now, Lynda, um, again, thank you for joining me. But tell us a little bit about who you are, and you have a group called Women Action Takers, and tell us about Women Action Takers.
Well, thanks first for having me, Whitney. I really appreciate it. And it was interesting because when we originally were scheduled to do the video, the interview, I was like, I really want to have the other contributors be part of the interview, because that's one thing I'm all about, is about sharing other
Yeah.
people and collaborating with others. I become a collaboration strategist because I just help, collaborate with other people to share their light. Because the thing is that what I realized throughout my journey is that the more sharing of others, the more it also lifts me up at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that. And so for me, it was like, you know what? If it was an option of only me or us as a group, I chose us as a group every single time. I will always do that because I love to shine other people's
That's
light.
beautiful.
Well, thank you. It's funny because I wasn't always that way. I grew up a very scared child. I grew up in an abusive environment, and it caused me to like really like sink within myself. I had so many
Mm,
fears and stuff, and those fears caused me to be jealous. Like I had so many negative qualities about myself. And that's why my chapter actually in One Habit for Women Action Takers, it was so important to me because it's called I Love You. And this was about learning to say I love you to yourself, because for the first 5 decades of my life, I didn't say I love you
right.
to myself because I didn't love myself. I actually was like, I'm just like walking around as this person with negativity, and as positive as I am today, people see that and they think
Mm,
I've always been that way, but I haven't. I had my dark sides. I attempted suicide when I was 16. I grew up in this abuse. I had married an abusive husband. My first husband, my current husband's amazing. So I had like all this darkness in my life, that when people would say I love you, or people would say just look at yourself in the mirror and say I love you, I couldn't do it.
mm,
I could not do it. And so I'm sharing that because the title chapter, say I love you daily, this isn't about saying I love you to other people daily. This is about saying I love you to yourself daily.
yes.
Because until we love ourselves, it's really hard to love others. Like I thought I knew what love was, Whitney, but I didn't
Right.
until I learned to love me. And that's when it all changed. Like, what does love really mean? For me to hear, like, have a stranger say, I love you. I had this one woman I worked with, and, she's just like a really sweet woman, and just says, I love you to people. It's like one of the things she does. And I remember when she first said it, I was like, what's wrong with that lady? Why is she saying, I love you? It's because she did.
Yeah. Yeah.
She loved who I was, but I didn't. So I didn't see how anybody else could.
Right. And it's interesting you say that. I guess it's a meme. I guess I should figure out what this is, because I keep saying every time I say it, I said I guess it's a meme. I should figure out if it's a meme or not. Um, so this particular meme, I guess it is, says that if I can say I hate you, I can say I love you, right? Or something to that effect. And, or if I can love someone I don't know, then I can love if I can hate someone I don't know, I can I can love someone that I don't know. And we don't stop to think about that when we think about love and how, people saying it. Because I would say I have been uncomfortable with strangers saying that to me as well, right? It's like, well, I don't know you. But it's about them and what's coming out of them, what's overflowing for them, and loving other people. But I absolutely agree with you about loving ourselves, and that I think we're not taught to do that early on, or that somehow if you love yourself, that's selfish.
Yeah.
And so we don't get that message early on. We, of course, it's always our parents saying, I love you. We say, I love you back, your siblings, your family, that community grows, your friends. But it's never really about saying, I love you to ourselves. And so I love that about the chapter. And I'm going to say, I love that about you, about being someone who lifts other people up, in particular women, and wanting to share the light, the spotlight, the opportunities, networking, all the things that you are doing to make it possible for other people's light to shine. I'm going to say I love that about you, and I've gotten to know you a little bit over the past couple of weeks. And so just talk real briefly about what Women Action Takers is. And then I've got a couple of other questions for you about some things that you've got coming up.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. First of all, I didn't hear the words "I love you" growing up. So it
Mhm.
was foreign to me, even in the household. So it was something I had to really learn. And I remember like the first time I said "I love you" to a boy, I think I was 17, and I said "I love you," but it was more like a puppy love, right? I didn't know what real love was. But anyway, moving into Women Action Takers and sharing the spotlight or giving the spotlight to others.
Mhm.
I've always been like the type of person who, like, I love to be in the spotlight. I was a musician. I played flute since I was in
I
second
play the
grade.
flute.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
People always hold it like weird ways. You see people like when they're pretending they're holding it weird ways. But and I played the flute, and I was always like the first chair, and I was
I
always the
was
one playing
first
solos.
chair.
Oh my God, we have so much in common. Let's hear how much more do we have in common. Do you play bass guitar in a rock band?
No, didn't
Okay,
do that one.
I got you there. Okay, I got you there. But I love being on this stage. I've always loved that kind of thing. And I think it was more because I felt, when I was younger, I felt the need to feel loved. And that was where I found my love, was when the audience was clapping for me.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't feel love in my household. There was abuse, and there was no saying I love you. And it was just not an environment that was enjoyable. I ran away when I was 5 years old, and I was gone an entire week. And, that was because I didn't feel love, and I felt love at the neighbor's house, so I went there. And it's just interesting, the love. What has happened is I hired a life coach 6 years ago, and she really helped me to discover who I am deep down inside, and to realize that it really opened my eyes that how much jealousy I had of other people.
Wow.
So I would keep other people down, and that's what happens when we have jealousy. We knock them. We're like, who does she think she is, all this stuff, right? That was me. I was the mean girls. I was the mean girl, in school, and I used to make fun of kids. And there was a girl that I used to make fun of all the time, and she had Down syndrome. And it's like, how, like, I was just a mean girl. I was I was a bitch, just flat out. And to change to who I am today, it's been a conscious decision to
Right.
make, and realizing, the pain I have today from the pain I caused in my past, it sticks with me. I can't change that, but I can change this moment forward.
Right. Right.
a next moment for it, because every moment is a moment, you know. And so it's because I realized that a lot of my pushing away or pushing back or pushing down was because of my own sense of
Mm,
like I just didn't believe in myself, you know, and I had so much jealousy. Really, jealousy was probably one of the biggest things. And a fear of judgment was another thing I had, you know, big time. But when I realized that that's what it was, what's awesome about it is because when we have this acknowledgement of something that's giving us whatever feelings we're having, it's that acknowledgement. I say, ah, I'm feeling jealous right now.
right.
And I'll just ask myself, why am I feeling jealous? I'm feeling jealous because I'm not doing the thing that person's doing. They're doing more than I am, or whatever it is. And I say, okay, it's just jealousy. Now let's stop that and let's move forward and look at that person. Look how amazing they are. Give them credit for what they're doing. Maybe they're taking the steps that they need to take to do the things they're doing, and you're not doing it, you know? So jealousy it just like clouds your vision of the
Right.
reality of the work and the effort that person's putting into it. So that right there was so important for me because Whitney, like we're doing a summit, right? We're doing a summit
Yes.
in November, the Women Action Takers Summit, and Whitney is on my committee. And I was like, you know what? Will you do the video for that? Now, I could have said, it's my summit, it's my idea,
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
do the video, but I'm like, Whitney, let's put you out there. Let's make you shine. You're
Yes, you
amazing.
did.
Yeah. And you did an incredible job. And I was like, wow, I'm so glad
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
having her do that because look how amazing she is. I want everybody to know how amazing she is,
Oh, thank you.
you know?
I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for letting me talk about this because this was, I'm getting actually emotional right now thinking about the breakthrough that I had to go through about myself, my own beliefs in myself,
Yeah.
to be able to shine the light on others.
It takes a lot of self-awareness to do that, right? And one
Yeah.
of the things that I truly believe is that when we can get self-aware, all of it opens up all the possibilities for the other things because we can stop. You know, I was just talking with someone who was talking about blind spots. And so we have blind spots, but you can't get rid of them until you recognize that you have a blind spot, right? You can't get rid of the jealousy until you recognize that you have feelings of jealousy, right? And so, or a habit of jealousy, and that is something that can be broken. If you can create it, you can uncreate it. And
Yeah.
so, it when we get into the habit of being self-reflective and gaining self-awareness, we open up so many possibilities. And so I kudos to you for hiring a life coach, and not just that, but doing the work, because it doesn't do any good to have a coach and not do the work. And then to see the fruits of your labor, right? With
Mhm.
the things that you've done. You've got, women action takers. You've got a huge community that you've put together, and now you're doing your second summit. So why don't you talk a little bit about the summit and what the purpose of that is, and then we'll wrap up with a little more talk about habits.
Okay, well, the summit, I'm super excited about this because I was sharing with my team, you know, the first summit I did was just so I could show myself I could do a summit. Like that was my intention, my purpose of the entire summit was just to show myself that I could do it. And I did it. And then the next one was kind of like, okay, let me show myself I can do it again, you know? And then this next one, so here we are on the third summit. And what's exciting about it is I said, you know what? Yes, I can do it myself, but why not do it with a team? Why not see if people are interested in helping with this? And let's do it bigger. Let's do it better. Let's just make this an absolutely amazing summit where we knock it out of the park. So I proved to myself I could do it. Awesome. Now, what's my next step? This is a question I ask myself often. What's my next step? Because I could keep doing what I'm doing, or I could keep growing and
Right.
be better and, you know, just have like even more of an impact. Because for me, you know, I was driving myself to work. I was 51 years old. I was working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals at the time. By the way, that was my 49th job. As I was driving myself to work, I was like, this planet, this is so stupid. Like, why am I here? This is only 6 years ago, by the way. That was my mental attitude in 6 years ago. And like, why am I here? I have no purpose. I have no value. There's really no reason for me to be here. All I do is push, like these, what I'm saying, all I do is push papers around. This is ridiculous, you know? So I got to work and there was a message from a woman. It was on Facebook. I didn't know her. And she said, I'm a life coach. I've taken some time off. I'm ready to get back into it. I want to change 5 women's lives. If you're ready, raise your hand and let's go. And I was like, this woman's talking to me, you know? I wanted to change my life. I was looking. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This student was finally ready after 51 years of not being ready. My teacher appeared right in front of me. So this is what I love about the summit. Our mission for this summit in particular is for entrepreneurs. We're going to take you through 3 different phases, 3 days. The first day is about starting a business. So all of our speakers will be talking about things that will help you to start a business. Day 2 is all about growing your business. Your business, you've got it going. You're making some money, but maybe not a whole lot of money. And you're like, I want to grow this thing because maybe you have a 9-to-5 and you want to leave your 9-to-5. Let's use that as an example. Day 3 is all about scaling. Your business is grown. It's doing a great job. Now you want to scale it. Like, how do you think, like one of the, the founder of UGG Boots, Brian Smith, I'm hoping to have him on our panel, by the way, at the summit. Even though he's not a woman, he's a wild card. And, you know, the thing is, UGG Boots started with the first year, he sold 27 pairs of boots. And then he was like, dang, I have 500 pairs of boots I got to sell. So he had to keep going because he had inventory. So he kept going. And then he grew that into something, right? Then it came to the point, it's like, I can't do this myself. I'm ready to scale this thing. And he ended up selling it. He sold UGG Boots and they have become a $1 billion company. Yes. So it's this process of starting, growing, and then scaling. And so that's what this Women Action Takers Summit is all about. We got some workshops we're going to do. We have some speakers coming in. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm excited. November 14th through 16th.
That's awesome. And I'm looking forward to participating. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve you and the women of the community and whoever joins us in the audience for the Women Action Takers Summit in November.
Yes.
Let's take a moment going back to the books, but you not only were the co-author of Women Action Takers, you were a part of another One Habit book, right? And so what is it about talking about habits that you think is important that led you to be a part in both of those books?
Well, first, the first collaboration book I was in was a few years ago. It was with my mentor, Greg Reed, and that was called Footsteps of the Fearless. The reason I joined that book was because at that time when he talked to me about it, I was actually facing a fear every single day for the entire year. So talk about habits, right? I created a habit, and this habit was every morning, the first thing I would do before I even got out of bed, and I would say this out loud with my husband in bed, laying right next to me, and I would say, what scares me? Every morning, that became a habit to ask myself that question, what scares me? Then I would lay in bed, silent, and I would wait for the answer to come. Whatever was the very first thing that popped into my head that day was the fear I had to face myself, like I had to face it that day. This was a commitment to myself. This was not a New Year's resolution. It was January 1st of 2015. It wasn't a New Year's resolution. This was about changing my life and making a commitment. A resolution is not a commitment. Right. So I made a commitment to myself, and I did that for an entire year. So when Greg mentioned this opportunity to be in a collaboration book, I was like, cool, Footsteps of the Fearless. This is perfect because I'm facing fear every day, you know? And then after that, I wrote my own book called The Year of Fears. And that book was based on the year of fears that I faced a fear every single day. Well, about a year and a half later, a friend of mine, Eric Swanson, speaker Eric Swanson, Mr. Awesome, he was like, hey, my friend Steve Sambliss is writing a book about habits. you should totally be in that book. And I was like, okay, I'll join that book. I had no idea what it was about, like, or anything. And it happened to be the last day, the last chapter. Like I was the very last chapter in that book. And so I jumped in and I was like, okay, I'll write a habit. So let's do this. I don't remember exactly what that habit was off the top of my head. Apologize for that. But it was cool to be in a collaboration book and see how Steve ran his
Mhm.
collaboration book. Because at the same time, I was already writing my own collaboration books.
Okay.
So because I was like, I'm in a collaboration book, again, ask myself the next step, write my own book, and then ask myself the next step, write my own collaboration books. So it was kind of like the journey that I went on. But then when Steve's came up, I was like, yeah, I want to be in another collaboration book because I love collaborating with people,
Yes.
So I jumped into that book and it was so awesome. And while I was having a conversation with Steve, and I said, you know what? It would be awesome to do a book called One Habit for Women Action Takers, because Women Action Takers is my brand. So let's combine the two together. And he's like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. It was cool. He was like, okay, this is Women Action Takers. So let's see how much action they take. So I said, okay, let's do a webinar. We did a webinar like 4 days later. We had 40 something people hop onto that webinar. We sold 20 something chapters that day and we had a book. And he was like, okay, we're going to publish this book in 3 weeks or something. I was like, okay, let's do it, but it was all about just, taking
Now
that
he's an
action.
action. Steve is an action
He
taker.
is, he is. And his team, working behind the scene, like the scenes, like they're
Yes.
making it happen. And so that's like, it's just cool to be part of something that you see the momentum picking up and you see the steam picking up and, to just kind of like be part of that. It was really, really fun to be part of that.
Yes. It has been, by the time this is, well, right now, I think out of a happenstance to contribute to my first One Habit book, I have now contributed to 5.
There you go.
In the span of a handful, a half dozen months. It's something I had never thought about. So I'm just going to say that for those of you who are watching or listening live or later, if you have a desire to contribute to a book, to write a book, being part of a collaboration book, Lynda's absolutely right. Being part of a collaboration book is an awesome opportunity to make that happen. It's a way to get your feet wet, and you can, use that as a launching pad to doing either your own collaboration book or continuing to write your own chapter. And Lynda, you have a couple of books yourself, right? So you've
Yeah.
written a book, and then you've got a couple of collaboration books as well, right?
Yeah, Momentum was the first collaboration book that I started writing that 2 years ago. And I got to tell you, well, we launched it 3 weeks ago. It became a bestseller in 6 hours, which was really cool. And that book, though, I wanted to quit so many times because I was feeling like a failure. I had my own negative, like I have my own negative self-talk, even though I'm a positive person.
We
I
all
still have,
do. We
yeah,
all do.
right. I'm a human being, right? I got this negative stuff and I'm like, I just want to quit. I just want to quit. And so many times I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I kept moving forward. And then we did the launch. I was like, I'm so glad, I didn't quit on me and quit on everybody else because I was heading this process, right? So I had to keep going. And then after that, I was like, while I was working on that book, 2 other titles came to me. And these titles, by the way, come to me. I believe God sends me these. Like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the title of my next book. It just comes to me. And that's like Momentum, 13 Lessons from Action Takers Who Changed the World. And so the next 2 that came up was The Fearless Entrepreneurs. And then the next one, Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. These are my stories. These are my life that I've been experiencing. And now it's time to share those stories. And there are so many other people who have had the
Right.
same sort of experiences, not identical, of course, but it's their opportunity to share their story. How did you go from feeling invisible to being invincible now? You're an entrepreneur. How did you become a fearless entrepreneur? I truly believe that everybody who's an entrepreneur is fearless because not everybody will undertake the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to be
Right.
an entrepreneur,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Yes, that's what I'm working on now and is super excited about it.
So what I hear from you, and going back to your chapter in Women Action Takers, the one habit for women action takers, is that what you have been doing, what you are giving, who you are being is all a result of you loving you and being able to, the way I see it, and you mentioned God, is that, God is love. God loves us. We get an overflow of his love. We love ourselves, and then we can push that love out. And so what I'm hearing from you in this process is you loving yourself and then being able to shine that love and light out. And so I just, again, I want to thank you for being you, for stepping into who you are, for being afraid and doing it anyway, for we could say being fearless, but it is, in the end, it's doing it anyway. It's feeling that fear and being an action taker and saying, I'm going to do this anyway. And so being an example of someone who does that and walking alongside others as they are doing that. So I just want to say thank you for that. I want to say thank you for coming back on Habit Talks, for stepping outside of yourself and coming here by yourself this time. And I enjoyed talking with the other ladies. And I still want to interview any of the contributors from your book. So if you guys are listening, the invitation is always open for any One Habit contributor, author, co-author to come and have a conversation with me. We're in this community together. And so let's continue to grow it together and make it thrive for all of us. So Lynda, I will give you any final words you'd like to share.
Thank you. The final thing is nothing happens without action. I remember my mom, it was 2 weeks before she passed away. She had been with my dad for 55 years. It was 55 years of abuse. Even the last words that he said as he was dying were condescending words to my mom. And I don't share this very often, but the first words my mom said when my dad took his last breath, I was standing right next to her. She said, "Thank God the bastard is dead." Those are her first words when my dad passed away. So 2 weeks before her death, she said, "You know, Lynda, I've lived my life with so many regrets. Make sure that you go out there and you live your life with no regrets." This was so important to me because I had been living my life with regrets because I had so many people I blamed for everything in my life. So it put me on this path of putting myself out there and trying to figure out, what does this mean for me? What does living my life with no regrets mean for me? And so one thing I discovered is we can hope, dream, pray, manifest, desire everything we want in life. But if it's standing right in front of your face and you don't take the action to make it happen, nothing is going to happen. So nothing happens without action. If you want something, go get it.
I love that. And I'm going to let that sit and resonate with the audience. Lynda, thank you so much for, again, coming on Habit Talks and having a conversation with me. For the audience, and we will have the information for not only the One Habit for women action takers, the link in the post. We will put the information if you're interested in the Women Action Takers Summit that's coming up. And Lynda's contact information, if you want to get in touch with her, reach out to her. We will put that information in the post as well. So Lynda, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.